Welcome to the First Look seminar. We are fresh off the Kentucky Derby and we're moving into a new weekend here at Santa Anita. Join me now. First off, my man Gino Bacola. Gino, what's going on, my friend?
Chappie, ready to rock and roll. Talk a little Santa Anita for Saturday. That's what's great about this sport. If you had a bunch of good scores last week, you can roll it on over. If you didn't, there's always going to be another opportunity for you not far away. So looking forward to diving into the Pick 5. We'll play in those Pick'em contests tomorrow, every Saturday, every Sunday. You still have like a month left of those every Saturday and Sunday. They're totally free. You could win $500 every Saturday and every Sunday just spending a few minutes filling out your entry. Pick'em.santaanita.com. The questions combine basketball games, baseball games, questions about hockey games, and then about the Santa Anita racing card.
Speaking of hockey, Skip, are you still stinging a little bit from the Kings getting eliminated by the Edmonton Oilers?
You know, I was, but boy, everything got put in perspective real quick. I was walking out of there all disappointed. I get a phone call. My mom's in the hospital. So I kind of forgot about the Kings and, of course, focused on mom. And she's still in there. She's doing better. She's getting stronger every day. But I've got over the Kings. So thanks to my mom.
That's not how we wanted you to get over it, but sounds like mom's doing better. So let's move on. We're going to tackle the late Pick 5 Saturday, May 13th at Santa Anita tomorrow. And we're going to start with race 5. We're maiden special weights going 6 furlongs on the turf. I don't know, Gino, if you remember the 5-2 morning line favorite, actually, Bruce Finkelstein liked a lot last time out on the Morning Line Sports Show, ran a nice second at 13-1. And there's a few other interesting horses in here. Gino, which way are you looking?
Yeah, the 5 is horse to beat. Gio, I feel like it's almost my name, right? Like Gio Venazio here with the horse to beat coming off of back-to-back runner-up efforts. I think that is the horse to beat. If you're looking for a horse to bet, for me, it's the 8, Neon Lights, the horse to throw into the exotics here. So Neon Lights debuted in Ireland in January back at Dundalk on a synthetic track going 7 furlongs in a big field of 11. Ran really well that day, kind of sneaky, was sort of down on the inside and just kind of kept coming. It was a better than look performance. And then Neon Lights showed up on April the 22nd. It was the first start in a few months. It was the first start for a new barn. And it was the first start in North America. Was sitting in the second flight, just kind of wanted to go, then settled nicely. Honestly, just ran like a horse that looked like they needed the race a little bit. And I think will be a lot sharper, a lot fitter here with that one under the belt. So I'll probably use 5, 8, and 9 in here. The 9 is the first time starter that's bred really, really well. This barn, you don't necessarily think of Hoffman's as a barn who's firing with first time starters, but they're actually capable. What's kind of funny, they're 4 for their last 45 with first time starters, and Phil D'Amato is 1 for the last 31. So when you're just kind of comparing horses in this race, D'Amato with first time starter has really, really struggled. Hoffman's has actually been capable. So Act 3 is a 3-year-old son of Kitten's Joy out of the Dam Divine Actress. The Dam was a stakes winner going long on the turf. She produced a horse named Oscar Performance, who was a 4-time Grade 1 winner, who was an 8-time winner, who earned $2.3 million. That's the full brother to Act 3. There's also another half brother that he has named Oscar Nominated, who was a multiple graded stakes winner, who earned $1.5 million. He has another sibling named Award Winner, who we know from out here in Southern California, who won the Grade 2 Whittingham. So this horse has 6 direct siblings. 5 of them are turf winners. 3 of them are graded stakes winners. 2 of them are millionaires. The blood here is incredible as far as the pedigree for Act 3. I'll go 5, 8, and 9, I think, in race 5.
A couple things about a few of the horses that you mentioned. First of all, with Act 3, the 6 furlong work is very interesting. Also, how many times do you see J.J. Hernandez on a first-time starter for David Hoffman? So, which is very, very interesting. I thought in the replays, Skip, I don't know if you saw them both, Neon Lights and Yogi Boy both had similar trips in different races. Both had trouble. Both, I think, have more speed. were kind of both bottled up all the way till the far turn and then kind of gave way because they used a lot of energy. Your thoughts on two of those? And I have one more first timer I'll throw in there in a minute, Skip.
This race was very confusing to me. I don't really like the favorite. I know it's the horse to beat, and it has speed. It ran very well last time. Yogi Boy, like you said, had a troubled trip. I love that Mike Smith jumps aboard. I mean, I know he's kind of off to a little slow start to the meet, but when Mikey Smith jumps aboard, he must like the horse, or they must like it. Neon Lights, you got to use that one, like Gino said. The couple first timers that I was thinking about using and will is the one Hula Candy. It's a 5-year-old, but this horse, I liked a couple of the works. I liked on April 9th and April 26th. Now it's got a couple little gaps. It's not too much, but from the 9th to the 26th, it looks like maybe it missed a work in between there. And I liked Watsonville too. That was the other first timer that I liked. The works that I saw on XBTV go way back to February 11th and February 18th, but the horse looked like it could run to me. There's the family's good. They're good on the grass. So I was looking like 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, 9. I'm just trying to beat the 5. So I'm going to use those 3. I didn't like the 4, and I really don't like it now that Gino just gave those stats.
I'm gonna talk about a few of the works. The only one I saw on the 4 was back on April 24th. The horse was very green, didn't look like it had a whole lot of talent. The one I was going to mention, and here we go again with a Sheriff's first time starter, and then you add the rail in. But that work on April 9th, I did not see any. I didn't see the 26. I didn't. Maybe I missed it. The one on the 9th worked very well with a horse who had all kinds of trouble first time out and still ran on nicely. I thought the Hula Candy has a ton of talent.
I know, I agree. The draw, that's the only thing is the draw, and just, is there a work missing, or do you think, because with the weather that we've had out here sometimes too, it's hard to always read into that. Like if a work's missing and this horse is a 5-year-old and draws the rail, well, then those are a couple knocks. If that's not a missing, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of a big deal with a horse like this that you're trying to talk yourself into.
Horse can run.
Because if there's some holes in the pattern, that's concerning, but there's ability there. It's just, it may be a tough spot like meaning from the rail right here if this horse isn't ready to go. I don't know if the field is very tough. Like it's not the strongest group in the world.
Right. Now to me, the only tricky one is, now we're talking about a dirt work for a turf horse. So you sometimes it's hard. I did not like the recent work for Watsonville. The May 7th workout is on XBTV. Got soundly beaten by another horse. Matter of fact, I'm almost positive Maldonado was on that horse and then stays on, obviously, Giovinazzi. But that by the way, this kid Frisu can ride a horse.
Absolutely.
So I'm leaning much more towards the 1 than the 2, even though the 1 horse was worse and Sheriff's doesn't win a whole lot first time out, but just on visual ability. I'm kind of with you, Gino. I'm trying to beat the 5 for whatever reason, but
he's fine. It just, I think the 8 might be if the horse to bet. Like if I was looking for one horse to bet in this race, if the 8 was 5-1 or above, that's the horse that makes sense to me in here at that price.
And you guys, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the one, it's 5 years old. Obviously, this horse has had a few setbacks, but the horse obviously could run. Otherwise, they just would give up on the horse
for 20, and it wouldn't get claimed.
Yeah.
So
it's just he's sneaky. He's hard to leave out because he'll be a pretty fair price. So he's probably worth at least including.
He would be my top pick, I honestly think, but I keep getting burned on these Sheriff first-time starters, and then you add the rail in, and I just feel like, I don't know, just on talent alone. Because even Act 3, I thought the workout was okay, but this horse has to have some talent.
Visually, it's fine, but like the pedigree there is,
and
like you said,
and then Hernandez
jumping on.
Hernandez tips the hand, right? That it's got to be. So, all right, we're moving on. We're clearly all spreading, trying to beat the favorite. is basically what we're saying. All right, let's move on to the second leg, which is $32,000 beaten favorites going at 5.5 furlongs. A field of 7. Skip, what are you looking in here?
This race was another confusing one for me. My top play is going to be Golden Spa, and I don't like it being 3-1. But last time we did, or one of the times we did one of these other shows, it was after it broke its maiden. I liked it right back. It didn't run any good. It got beat 3.5 lengths. But I think the drop in class is really going to help this one, dropping down to 32 now instead of, optional 50s. That's a pretty significant drop. I think it's the right spot for this horse, but I'm going to use a few other ones too. I'm going to use Susie Q's brother, going route to sprint. I like that move. I don't like that the horse is 1 for 16, but I think this horse, I like when they'll do that. It will give that extra energy, that stamina. I know it's going 5.5, but I'm going to use Susie Q's brother. And another one I'm going to use is probably the Steve Knapp going turf to dirt, the 6. So I'm going to probably go 4, 5, 6. I like the Knapp going turf to dirt. He's got pretty good stats doing that. Drops down in class to a more realistic spot. It didn't run bad for 25. It got beat 1.25 lengths. It's got speed. It's drawn outside, and I always like that.
Gino, I didn't have much of a feel for this race.
The real wild card to the whole race is the 3. Right, we're on Snappy because this is a horse who, in his 3 races, he has faced Get Her Number, who's a graded stakes winner, Essential Wager, who is a grade 3 winner. He faced Mucho del Oro, who had won 3 in a row. He faced Gold Phoenix, who's a grade 1 winner, and American Theorem, who's a grade 1 winner and a multiple graded stakes winner. Again, we've actually had the same conversation the last couple of weeks about horses that come out of races where they've faced graded stakes winners, but they're disguised. They're not graded stakes races. So his 5 races, he's faced 4 graded stakes winners in those 5 races, and none of them were a stakes. But they were a long time ago. This horse obviously has a bunch of issues because he's had a couple of big gaps in his career. But if we're just talking about 5.5 furlongs on the dirt at the lowest level he's ever been, can he be ready to do that here? I mean, he might be able to. That's the only thing. It's just not the strongest group in the world. Again, I do think Skip is spot on. The horse to beat, the one that I need for sure, is Golden Spa. He comes out of 2 consecutive races where there was no passing. In both of those last 2 races, the horses who won went wire to wire. And in the other, there was like a clump of 4 horses that were all there. And then the one of them just kind of pushed on, but nobody passed in either of those 2 races. So the shape of them was not good for him. And he was down inside, kind of traveling well with absolutely nowhere to go. He got shuffled back. He made up some late ground there too. So he can pass horses. I think I'm going to try to beat the 1 who's got the speed down on the inside. They just have one way to go. I think I might try to go 3-4 in here and just get out of here with those 2. If the 3 shows up with like a B performance, I think this horse might just air the field. And if the race is run in a formful way and there is a good amount of speed, I think it should set up very well for Golden Spa.
Yeah, to me, this is a little bit of a these are tricky races. Some of these droppers, and then the favorite obviously should be the favorite on the rail, but is very beatable. You got to figure what the 6 is going to send as well. So there is some speed in here. I just a tricky race for me. So, all right, let's move on to the third leg. Gino, optional claiming here, 6 furlongs on the turf. Very interesting field of 9. What were you looking here in the third leg, Gino?
I like the 4 in here a little bit. This is something that we see happen at Del Mar when we see the horses come in from New Mexico sometimes. Horses can run there. Don't just dismiss them. This horse has some ability, Man Overboard. So Man Overboard debuted on April the 2nd at Sunland, and he won first time out of the box. He beat Open Company because that was a maiden special weight race. The horses who ran 2nd and 3rd in that race both came back to win their next start. And now he's been transferred into the Ryan Hansen barn. This horse is bred beautifully for the turf. In fact, his dam was a 2-time winner on the turf and was stakes placed. The only sibling that he has to try the turf won on it. there is a work posted, and I thought he was like a little slow out of the gate, and then he looked like he had some ability. I think there's a little something there with this horse for sure. So I'm throwing him in all of my late exotics. The number 4, Man Overboard. I thought the 8 was extremely impressive. Long May She Reign in that debut win. I don't know if she needs the lead either. I think she just kind of was aggressively handled, and I could see, like maybe the 1 or a couple of the inside horses going, and I could see her sitting nicely just off of him. That was a visually pretty impressive race. And then you have the 6 horse, who's the half to Irish Heatwave. That's a 6-time turf winner and a multiple stakes winner. And what's nice about Irish Royalty, kind of similar with Man Overboard, he exits races where he's been beating open company. So while it looks like he's maybe stepping up in class here, it's more of a lateral move when you've been facing open breds and now you're in with just Calbreds here. So 4, 6, 8 for me. Might throw in the 2 and just go 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? All evens right here. Because left-hand man's damn one on the turf and does have a winning turf sib. That one wouldn't shock me. That was who I had sort of stacked below. I had 4, 8, 6, and then wasn't sure what to do with the 2 inside horses. The one's likely the quickest, but I do think there is at least a decent, like a fair amount of speed in here.
Yeah, I thought left-hand man skip was a definite use. I mean, they haven't tried the turf yet, but that first time out beat that Austonian, who was very, very highly thought of for Brian Coroner. Then they went into the deep end against Kangaroo Court, who was favored in the Pat Day Mile last weekend. And you're right. Long May She Reign, very impressive visually. The horse I wanted to use was the 5 but I'm not. If you draw a line through the debut on dirt, then the horse wins by open lengths sprinting on the turf, then breaks on the rail sprinting on the turf. Then last time out goes a mile, so you draw a line through then. Vasquez is back on it. But visually, I didn't think it was nearly as impressive as Long May She Reign.
Like, I couldn't get the excuses either, really. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't build enough of a case. I wanted to.
Sometimes you have to watch those, and then you kind of talk yourself onto or off of a horse, Skip.
Right. Yeah, you're exactly right. I'm with Gino here. I like Man Overboard. That was a key race. The 2nd and 3rd place finisher come back to win. It's bred for the grass. And we'll get a square price with Ellenwood aboard. I got to use that one. I'm using left-hand man, the 2 horse too. This horse will like going to the grass. First time was very impressive. I know it was on the dirt. Second time, like you said, it was against Kangaroo Court. That was a good race. It was antsy, off slow. Now it drops back down in class. I'm using the 2, 4, the 6. This horse likes to win. It's won 3 out of 7. And Gino said one of the sisters or brothers had won on the grass. So we got to use that. And the other one I'm going to use is a 9, Barely Functional. I like the way that he won last time. And first time out, he didn't run bad either. And that got beat by a pretty nice horse of Jeff Mullins, who was a square price that day. I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 9 and look for some wine.
Beautiful. We're rhyming, Skippy.
He wants wine, and who do we appreciate? I
was going to say, you won up to me there. Anything that ends with wine is definitely the winner.
Well, I was going to go 2, 4, 6, 5. And let's go along for the drive, but I can't use the 5. So
Chappie's just trying to stay alive, is what is going on.
And it's been a while. Since I've had a smile. All right, let's move on to race 8. And boy, this is talking about a very interesting allowance race. Gino, you've got 2 older horses who probably aren't the same. A horse coming off of a week rest, another horse who has no early speed, and then somebody who maybe filled out the race.
This is a tough one because there's no speed in the race at all. There's no early speed for a 6 furlong dirt sprint. So by process of elimination, Dr. Chevelle, who has some positional speed, he's going to be fresh. He hasn't run since March of 2022. He should be on the lead. I'd imagine they'll probably try to get aggressive with him. But these are the types of horses you almost always want to take a shot against when they make their first start back from Dubai, especially a horse who hasn't run in this long. And We know that he's had some physical issues recently, but who are you trying to beat him with? Like when you start diving through the field, as Chappie said, none above the law has very little speed for a dirt sprint like this. He could be well behind this group early on. Escape route, I think it looks like he has a little bit more speed than he really does. He's honestly a little bit more of a sitter and stalker. Maybe they get aggressive with him, but he hasn't really run any of his better races in the last year since
6
early
days.
in like early 2021. I mean, his best races, though, the ones that you would think could compete with Dr. Chevelle and CZ Rocket, he hasn't run any of those since like early 2022.
No.
Since back at Keeneland. Then you have CZ Rocket. Sure, he could fit. He's actually run some pretty good races recently, but he's not really that fast early. He's a stalker and a closer. And then Clem Labine would have to run the best race he's ever run to compete with either CZ Rocket or Dr. Chevelle. It's not a fun betting race. You know what I mean? It's just not like, because it's so hard to really make a case for someone in here. I will probably honestly end up just singling Dr. Chevelle and then just moving along, because I don't feel strongly enough about anyone else to double up. I'd have to just pick between Dr. Chevelle and CZ Rocket and then single one of the two of them. I think that's probably the only way I could approach this race, because otherwise you're going to double up your ticket with two really short price horses. And if either one of them wins, it's not as if they're going to separate from the other all that much. So it's really about how do you want to wager on this pick 5, right? From a gambling perspective, because this would be the race. You got to make the call. And I'll probably take the one who ends up on the rail with the speed, with Hernandez aboard. So yeah, that would be my slight lean.
Skip, I wish the 2-horse was named None of the Above instead of None Above the Law, because I don't want to bet on any. I don't want to bet on any of these horses. So I hope you have something. I can't make heads or tails of anyone in this field.
You know, I can't either. I mean, this race, it's like I almost thought about going lighter early, and I like a few in the next race, and then. But I don't want to go all in this. I mean, it's not worth it. Dr. Chevelle could probably just win on class alone. I mean, he's the best horse in the race. But, I mean, are they going to go breaking from the rail? It's got bigger and better things down the line. The Pat O'Brien at Del Mar they're talking about. Are they just trying to get a race into this one? CZ Rockets coming from that trip, that dreadful trip, I can't bet those horses when the first time they come back. I want to see them run a couple times. Usually that takes a little something out of them. That was just in March. That's, less than 2 months ago. I don't know what to do. The 5 is going to be on my ticket. I know it has to run the best race of his life, but it doesn't have speed. But at the price, I just don't know what to do. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 5 and just try to see what happens. This race is impossible to me.
Yeah.
So I'm not much help.
And really, well, I was going to say none above the law's got a lot of talent, but that horse hasn't ran since November and has no speed. So like Gino said,
right.
I don't know.
So that's why, I mean, he's probably right to singling Dr. Scheibel, but I can't do it. I think Dr. Scheibel will probably end up on the lead. Yeah. And then by chance, if Escape Route goes or CZ Rocket shows, well, CZ Rocket won't show any speed. Maybe if somebody goes, like the 3 goes with Dr. Scheibel, right. I'm thinking maybe the 2 could come and get him or the 5.
Yeah.
I'm going 1, 2, 5 and just going to hold my breath.
All right, we move on to the 9th and final, which is
and what's crazy, Chappie, is between the 8th and the 9th, we have some of the most bizarre, just weird kind of spots or just horses showing up that are super classy, but we haven't seen for a while. Between these last 2 races, we're gonna have 3 graded stakes winners show up. Stephanie walks by in the background saying hello. We have Dr. Chevelle, the multiple grade 1 winner here, and then in the 9th race, you have Midcourt, who shows up, and we haven't seen Midcourt, the multiple graded stakes winner, He's never raced on the turf, and he hasn't even run since February of 2022. And you have Planetario, the 2. This is a multiple grade 1 winner in Brazil, but he's only raced 2 times in the last 2.5 years. You have some really 3 different graded stakes horses in these last 2 races that are such difficult reads because we've seen so little of them over the last couple years. Look at what Mandela did with Planetario. He worked this horse 1 mile and 1/8 right recently. He just worked this horse. When do you see a horse get?
I've never seen that in my entire life. I didn't even notice.
He gave him 1 mile and 1/8 work to get him ready for the 1.5 mile race, which is just, it's crazy. Hilarious. It is, just to think about. Now, all that being said, if you want to bet this race, I think that Opry just kind of showed in his last couple that he actually fits with that group pretty well. He might be able to get the jump on them. Dicey Mochara was ridden a little more aggressively in the Whittingham than Opry was, and Opry set off. I wouldn't be shocked to see Opry actually go to the lead here, Dicey Mo try to sit behind him, and then if Opry's able to get that jump on this group and maybe get the jump on Awfully Naughty. So I think Opry has a little bit of a chance to maybe spring the upset on the 2 that just beat him based on value, if you're looking for value. Because other than that, I mean, I had a harder time just getting around him, Dicey Mo, and Awfully Naughty, who are your top 3 finishers of the Whittingham. But I really do think that Opry has shown in his last couple he can compete with this group.
Skipper, what are your thoughts, especially on Awfully Naughty? Is that horse just gotten really good? I mean, the last 2 races have been very impressive, and Umberto is riding very well right now as well.
I love Awfully Naughty. I think this horse is really sharp. Obviously, 2 in a row. It's a turf marathoner. It's a plotter. It just keeps coming. But he's got a kick too. Going into the 8th pole that last time, I needed him bad, and I didn't think he was going to get there. But boy, he just kind of exploded and went by and won with his ears up and won very nicely. McCarthy said he was going to keep this horse at Turfway Park, but decided to bring him back here for these marathon turf distances with the San Luis Rey and the San Juan Capistrano. So this horse, I watched the last couple works. They were very good. This horse is sharp. And look, it only cost $4,000. I would have liked to buy it for $4,000.
Yeah.
But this horse is sharp, and Rispoli, he's got his confidence back, and boy, he's riding lights out. I'm singling Awfully Naughty. I like Awfully Naughty an awful lot.
All right. Well, a nice 9 race card. And then on Sunday, we have Mother's Day, Gino, a lot going on again, and 5 weekends left in the meet. It's amazing how quickly time is flying by here.
Yeah, and next weekend will be the Preakness, the second jewel of racing's Triple Crown. A confirmation this morning that it looks like Mage will be headed to the Preakness. He's been doing well. And we also got confirmation this morning that National Treasure will be headed. And I'm very intrigued by him because he was a horse that we've talked about who should have no problems with distance. From class, he's actually competed with some really good horses. The problem that he had over the last couple months, he missed a race and he missed some training. So he was just a little bit behind some of these other horses who had like really full schedules. They were a little fitter than him. I think he may be interesting if you're looking to bet that race because it's not going to be the strongest race in the world. We're not going to see a lot of the horses from the Derby. They'll probably point back to the Belmont. So that'll be next weekend. We'll be able to talk a little Preakness also as we dive into the Santa Anita Saturday card.
Yeah, and then plenty coming up, including on Memorial Day, the 29th. We're looking a bit ahead, but we've got a terrific day of racing on Memorial Day. And then the Folds of Honor poker tournament that evening on Monday night after the races. Gino, we would love to see you come out for that. Skip,
I got to get there. I know. I got to get out there.
It is one of the best times at the track, is it not, Skip? It's a blast.
Yeah, we had a great time last year, and I'm looking forward to it this year. A lot of fun. Going to be great racing, Memorial Weekend, and end off with a little poker tournament.
That's right. So we will keep you all informed, and everybody have a great day tomorrow. Let's get some winners, gentlemen. And, of course, happy Mother's Day to all the Mother's Day on Sunday. And then we move forward with the Preakness next weekend. So, gentlemen, I'll talk to you tomorrow morning on the Morning Line Sports Show.
Good luck.
Appreciate it. Everybody, good luck. Talk to you soon.
Happy Mother's Day, everybody.